and welcome back to another episode of Awaken and Ascend. I am Jennifer Regular, your host, also the Soul Illuminator and Transformational Advisor at lightingthepath.ca. You might know me from there as well, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about flow today. We go through cycles of ebb and flow and ebb, and I admit I'm not always the best when it comes to the ebb part. Some of us like to slow down and relax, and for me, I mean, they used to call me Genergizer, so with that kind of rhythm, it's a little bit harder for me to accept. I like being in the flow, but even when we're slowing down, we can still be in a flow. It doesn't come to a complete stop. We're continuing to flow to move forward. And sometimes there's something that might be missing that's affecting our flow. I remember having a guest on the podcast who would ask, "Why is your flow weird?" And that made me chuckle. But why is your flow weird? What's going on? Does something seem out of balance, out of place? If we look at the word, and you know how much I love words, flow, when you take away the F, what do you have? Low. Exactly. And so when you're not fully in your flow, you might be feeling a little low, a little bit down, a little depressed, a little bit slowed down, or perhaps even stagnant. So when that F is missing, maybe that's a sign. That F could be the missing link to how to get back into that flow. So F could be stand for family. Family. Maybe you want to be spending more time with your family. Maybe you need to get away from your family. Something in your family is out of balance, out of alignment, and you can reflect on what that might be. Maybe that F is about family, and once that's addressed, then you'll be back in your flow. Family could also not necessarily mean your blood family. Maybe it's your community, your soul family. Maybe you need to spend more time connecting and nurturing those relationships. Maybe you're not sure who's a part of your soul family and you want to learn more about that. So consider those kind of reflections when you're thinking about what might be affecting your flow, making it weird. And then it could also be about friends. That's another F. Your friends. And they can be considered family too, right? But maybe you want to be spending more time with them, or maybe you're reevaluating some of those relationships, some of those friendships that don't feel like they're a good fit anymore. Maybe they did at a different phase in your life, a different part of your life, but those dynamics are dynamic. They change, they move, they shift. And so maybe there's something going on there in your friend circle that needs to shift, that needs some attention, some care, some deeper examination of what's actually fueling you and what's draining you in those relationships. And then there's this sense of freedom, which is one of the biggest F words that supports us in our flow, is when we have that spaciousness, that sense of freedom in our time, in our energy, in our space, and just being able to do what you want. That feels freeing. Letting go and eliminating all of your energy drains and just focusing on how to create more space to do what you love, to feel free, to explore, and to just feel expanded into that space. So, that too is another F word that may be affecting your flow. Finance, that's a big one. Another F word, finances. What's going on in your fortune, right? Not necessarily just money, but in your financial and fortune life. What does that feel like? Where are you feeling abundant? Where are you not feeling so abundant? What place are you actually operating from when you think about your finances and your fortune? So that too might be affecting your flow. Maybe there's something in your financial wellness that needs tending to, that needs some care, where you can serve that part of your life in a better way, in a better way perhaps, or give some more attention to that. Sometimes we avoid all those numbers, the bills, or strive and chase for earning something, or getting money from somewhere, or getting something that we feel we need to feel abundant. And so that might be affecting your flow. Maybe it's not having enough followers. I mean, that's a real thing for people, especially if you're trying to create a social media following, if you want to having some impact, if you're an influencer, then followers matter to you. And so if you're not having enough followers, then that's going to affect your flow, because then you feel like maybe you're not effective or not as popular, and you start comparing yourself to other people. And maybe you think that maybe that means you're not going to have the right kind of impact that you want. Maybe you won't have the right kind of influence you want. Maybe you need that external validation to feel supported, to feel loved. Is that really a true sense of safety and security? Maybe it's time to look inwards and really come into your rhythm and flow and what you need, and stop chasing or trying to prove or trying to gain acceptance from others, right? That too might be affecting your flow. And what about fortitude? Fortitude's another F word. That's actually needing and having the courage to step boldly into your purpose, to continue on the path that you're on, or to even have fortitude to create a new path, to be a trailblazer, to forge a new path ahead for yourself and for others too, that might be following you and being in your flow, which would affect your finances and your friends and your family once again. See, these are all interconnected. It's just not one thing, right? It's all of the things. But there's one thing that may be really calling to your attention right now that you'd like to prioritize. Maybe it's fun. Fun. How often do you have fun these days? What is fun for you? Someone asked me one time, what do you do for fun? And I only took maybe a second to reflect on it. I'm like, you know what, fun is more of an attitude for me. I have fun no matter what I'm doing. So that fun could be your outlook, your attitude, your approach to life. Maybe you actually want to be intentional about it though, and go out and have some fun. What would that look like for you? How do you know when you're having fun? Maybe laughing and smiling, or dancing, or hanging out with your friends or your family or your pets, or doing nothing, right? And just having fun. Bring that back into your life. One more F that I'm going to share with you, and that's fascination. Fascination. What are you fascinated by? What are you in awe of? What inspires you? What are you interested in? Maybe that's something that's missing in your life, and you're just kind of going on autopilot, or going in your day to day, or just focusing on your habitual way of living and not becoming fascinated by anything anymore. Maybe it's just the same old, same old. That would be the low energy, not so much in your flow. So let me know where you're at in your flow. Which of these words really resonate? Which one of these words actually pop for you right now as needing some attention? What activated? What got a little bit of charge out of you? Family, friends, fortitude, freedom, finance, followers, fun. What is it? What is it that you need to get back into your flow? I'd love to see that in the comments. And until next time, bye for now.